Hi and welcome to a different, uglier room of my house. I want you to think of a basic movie plot. Something along the lines of like, you know, a quiet, weird boy has a crush on the hot, popular girl, but she doesn't really know he exists, so he does weird and wacky things to get her attention. Also uses a friend of his, who happens to be a female, to try to make this hot girl jealous, or at least notice him in some type of way, but then ends up falling in love with this friend of his that helps him. It's probably a story you've seen in some way, shape, or form, but you've never seen it like this. So while, yes, that is the plot of the movie on paper, you have to dig through like 15 layers of weird to even begin to concentrate on the plot. I mean, there's early 2000s fashion, stories told by embroidery, sibling rivalry, an incest scare. What more could you ask for in a movie? It's an indie movie from the gods of weird. The directors of Juno wish they could achieve this level of enlightenment. This movie is the definition of the word weird, but I realized that by saying that word over and over again in this video that it will get really irritating to you guys and to me when I'm editing it and I have to hear it over and over again to the point where it doesn't sound like a real word anymore. So I went to thesaurus.com, typed in the word weird, and I'm gonna use as many synonyms as possible to make myself sound smarter than I truly am. I'm in here because I want to watch the movie while also talking about the movie, and this is the only way I can do it because my computer won't play audio with my mic plugged in. So I have a TV in front of me over there, mic here, camera here, and sanity out the door 10 years ago. Let's just get it. The movie was made in 2008, which is honestly the perfect time to push the boundaries of just how outlandish you can get in telling a story, because so many things were happening during that time.
The Dow tumbled more than 500 points.
So the upgrade is complete.
And I think it just made us all numb to the point where we were just willing to accept whatever was handed to us without question. So first and foremost, it was written, directed, and starred in by Seth Packard. He plays our main guy, Ethan, and here's how they introduce his character. So right off the bat, you get the idea that this is a very kooky kid, right? His hair is like that. He walks like that. He wears his shirt collar popped like that. Absolute legend, this man. Also, just side note, this movie has a pretty fire soundtrack. It's coming for you, Twilight. And then we introduce the brother Clay, who is a man that looks like he could be a high schooler, but could also be a borderline 30-year-old man with a receding hairline. It is an indie movie, so I guess they couldn't really be super picky in the casting. I just love this man's age ambiguity. So of course we established that Clay is the cool older brother. He's popular, he's hot, he gets all the chicks, and Ethan is like that in comparison. One of the many things I love about this movie is that it doesn't use dialogue to really introduce and explain the characters. It just lets you kind of figure it out as you watch them, and it shows just so much about them and their mannerisms. So many movies treat people like they're dumb. You don't realize this, but a lot of movies treat you like you're an idiot. They have to explain everything to you like you're a little baby because you don't understand. And half the time that's not entirely false, because I do need things explained to me very explicitly half the time because I'm just spaced out, and if you don't tell me verbatim what's going on, I'm not gonna get it. But this movie does it in just the right way where you can pick up what's going on without treating the audience like they're too stupid to figure out what's going on. Like so many movies, whenever they introduce the hot character, they either have some kind of voiceover or like someone telling someone else,
"Oh my gosh, that's Chad over there. He's like so hot. He's like the star of the football team and all the girls want him. He's so charismatic."
And it's like, okay, we get it. You showed an establishing shot of him walking down the hallway in his Letterman jacket with girls around him. Like, we know, but movies think you're dumb. this scene, again, is a perfect example of, like, explaining things about the character and giving you ideas about who Ethan is and who his brother is without actually having to tell you. So here we're introduced to his mother, who doesn't really parent her kids. She just leaves little notes of things like embroidered, is that the correct word? I don't know. On the wall of, like, if you get in trouble, you're going to your cousin's house. So if they get in trouble, they just get shipped to their cousins. Or she just has them, like, parent each other. If Ethan's in trouble, then it's Clay's job to go and fix him, and vice versa.
How would you feel about spending the summer in California with your cousins?
I don't really fit in with them. What? I didn't think I was in trouble, Mom.
Sweetie, I'll bet Asher's yearbook is filled with signatures.
I love that his mom's idea of, like, being a, I don't know, well-rounded, successful kid is having signatures in your yearbook. Despite the fact that I can tell you right now, every signature in my high school yearbook is from someone that I no longer talk to. So here we're introduced to Madison Sweet. She's the popular girl that Ethan doesn't just have a crush on, but is wildly obsessed with. We'll get to it. You'll hate it. We have their first kind of, like, interaction that we witness, and it's arguably what really kicks the movie off into the funniest thing I've ever seen. To enjoy this movie, you need to sit down at like 2 in the morning, hit play, and just let it happen. Don't try to think about it too deeply. Don't try to analyze it like I'm doing right now. Take none of it serious. Not a single moment of it serious. Bless. It does not get the recognition it deserves.
Do you need some flowers?
Yeah, I do.
Do you have any money? Are those panties?
They're G.I. Joes.
Gosh. Like the most unnecessary thing to say, but it only gets better from here.
I want plain white regular underwear.
Honestly, this movie, it might be a little too eccentric, I guess, for the average viewer, but it's the little moments like that that are spread out throughout the movie that make it just art. So here we see one of the first examples of their mom not really wanting to do anything as far as parenting goes. She's like, you need to help your brother, and then tries to get Clay to convince Ethan to go to California to live with his cousins for the summer. And this is a crucial moment. It seems insignificant, but oh boy. Oh boy.
Is Madison.
You hung out with Madison? Yeah, Madison's sweet. Wow. Now, is this poster Madison or real Madison?
What's poster Madison?
The poster Madison in your room, in your closet, the one that you talk to?
There's no poster. Look, I know you're pretty, but if I can't trust you, it means freaking nothing.
Show it to you.
I know it's there.
And here's what I meant earlier about 2008 being a time where we just accepted anything, because nowadays if a movie like this were to come out and a boy kept a life-sized cutout of a girl from his school in his room, it wouldn't even make it past editing, because they would be like, oh yikes. I just love it because it's innocent, like he just talks to it like Clay said. It's just a running gag throughout the movie that I think is so funny, and I'm so glad that they were allowed to get away with this back then, because now we have it today as a relic, a treasure of what used to be acceptable comedy. Another running gag in this movie is very slow zooms into Ethan's face, and while no, this isn't new, it's been done in other movies, again, it's just something about his character and his face, the music that plays, and the situations that he's in, that it really just adds to the feeling that this movie is supposed to invoke. And I don't know what that feeling is. It's not something you can put into words. It's just uncomfortable. So basically Clay tells Ethan that he was able to get Madison's number for him and that they have a date the next night, and this is Ethan's reaction, and I have no real commentary on this. I just really wanted to show it to you guys because I love this stupid movie.
Yeah!
Yeah! Oh my gosh! I love you! I love you, 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 I love you.
Move.
I love you, 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 I love you.
So we see that Ethan was able to get his tidy whities in time for his date with Cardboard Madison as well as Real Madison soon. And again, just the whole getting ready montage tells you everything you need to know about Ethan. So now we've reached a critical part of the story where Ethan is in a room that is vandalized with his name all over the place, saying Ethan rocks and everything like that, and spray paint and toilet paper.
Stay right there now.
Sir, seriously, I don't know who did this. This was not me. Hey, I'm telling you honestly.
And it doesn't take much for us to figure out that while yes, everything is spray painted with like his name, we realize that he didn't actually do it. He's been framed. So we cut to when he's in the police station.
Who does that look like to you?
Mom, that is not me. I'm being totally serious. I promise you, that is not me.
Oh, Ethan. You're dancing.
So he's in trouble, right? What happens to the boys when they get in trouble?
We are making our final descent into sunny California. Please enjoy your stay.
So here we are introduced to cousin Asher, who is supposed to help Ethan, I don't know, somehow achieve being a normal person when... Let's just find out a little thing or two about Asher.
Good night, Ethan. Good night, Ethan. Good night, Ethan.
No.
Hey, man, I'm going shopping. You want to go? What? It's money. Cool hair, man.
What's wrong with your head?
It's male pattern baldness.
So here we are introduced to Cleo, one of the other cousins, and a very important person in the story. So Ethan begins to open up to Cleo about Madison, calling her his girlfriend, pretending like that's a real thing, and I love their story that he's developed.
So how'd you meet?
Car accident. I just haven't talked to her since I left.
You haven't called her?
No?
Well, she wants you to.
Yes, sir. I'm calling for Madison Suite, and if she's available, sir, may I please speak with her? Yes? Who's this? Clay is my brother, Clay? Sorry about that. That's my house. Huh. My brother's at my girlfriend's house.
So here's really where we get into the conflict of the movie, which is Clay is now dating Ethan's crush, Madison Sweet, and he snuck behind Ethan's back while he was in California to do so. Some other things come to light about Clay, and I love the way that they do this. I love the way that Ethan connects the dots, but not just that, it's how the director, who is also Ethan, chooses to portray this idea in like the laziest but also the most genius and funny way I've ever seen. It's a scenario that didn't happen. It's Clay like nodding to his shoes and then giving him a wink. Maybe it did happen and Ethan's just a really bad narrator of the story. We can't trust how he views things because we're watching this kind of like through his perspective. Some would call it lazy, I call it art. This is another critical moment in the movie when Asher tells Ethan to just do what he wants.
If you want to get him back, just get him back. And if you want to get your girlfriend back, just get her back. Just do whatever you want.
I want to do a lot of things, Asher. That doesn't mean I can just do them.
Why not?
Do whatever you want, man. Consequences be darned. I just realized this AC's been blowing behind me the whole time. Oh my gosh. This video is gonna be so noisy. I'm so sorry. So with this advice, Ethan just has the absolute time of his life in California for the rest of the summer. So Ethan's getting ready to go home, and again, another line that just kept slipping by me and I never realized what it meant. I don't know if I'm just dumb or if they intentionally tried to make it as vague as possible, but again, it's, "I love you, cuz," and she responds with, "I'm Asher's cousin." This is important because there's a difference between her being his cousin and her being Asher's cousin. But I just kept being like, why are they making this distinction? So now we start to see Ethan rebel a little bit. He's starting to get his revenge on Clay now that he's been given the wise words from Asher of, just do what you want, man. So much about this movie is just so simple. A lot of movies try to make everything too much. This movie just cuts all that out and it's like, alright, just do what you want, man. Yeah, alright. He didn't have to go and contemplate it in a forest for a while. He's just like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. I did say the movie is very simplistic, but there are times where I can't tell if they're going out of their way to just be as eccentric as possible.
Hey, Madison.
Or if this is just genuinely how the writer's mind worked. And I honestly love the idea that this is just genuinely how he was like, you know what would be funny? Do this. And then like that was the end of the thought. It wasn't like, what can we do to make this weird? He was just like, yeah, just use a page for every word. So surprise, Cleo's here because she got in trouble, and when you get in trouble, your parents don't discipline you, they just send you to your cousin's house because that solves everything in this movie. And this picks up the story a little more. This is, like I said earlier, the girl that he uses to try to like get Madison jealous or whatever, because it's partially Cleo's idea, but also because, surprise, she's got a bit of a crush on him. If you didn't pick up on it before, it was a key for the future. So here's the first time that Ethan and Cleo kiss, try to make Madison jealous, when in reality it was more Cleo just trying to kiss Ethan to distract him from liking Madison, and it only makes her feel worse, because just don't do it, girls. Don't do it. This story ends well, spoiler, but in most situations, don't do it. Don't help a boy get a girl, especially if you like him. Just leave it be. Boys are trash. So next is Mom making Ethan help Clay because she's not gonna do it, right? Clay tells him that he's mad because Madison talks about her BO and her mustache. And this is when a little idea gets hatched in Ethan's little mind. He gets this great idea of how to break them up by giving her deodorant and mustache bleach, which ultimately backfires, of course. So Ethan's upset, obviously, because his plan backfired, but he says something key here where he says, I wish we were still in California. And this is important because Cleo's like, oh, I know how to make him fall in love with me. She tries to set up like this cute little beach scene on a playground, and she's ready to go in her bikini and sees Ethan do something very wrong. I want to admit that I realize this is very wrong. I'm not excusing his behavior, but he kisses Madison while she's sleeping. And she doesn't want to go to the beach thing anymore, and she's like, you pick, and he picks bowling, and she's in a bikini. But what I love is, you know, at this point in the movie, you're kind of thinking that he's gross and a scumbag, which you're not, you know, entirely off, because that was a pretty gross thing to do. But I love this little moment because he still cares about her.
I'm gonna go back to California.
Is there something that I could do to help you want to stay?
Yikes.
Seriously, Cleo, I don't know what I'd do if you left.
I love that little moment where you see Ethan not be just completely creepy and weird, and you see him be a genuinely sweet person. So after Ethan's mom posts another embroidered statement of what kind of things constitutes getting in trouble, they try to catch them in the act, and they catch something a little different. uh-oh, Madison is, cheating on Clay. Yikes. Cleo finally admits her feelings for Ethan, and it's sweet when you don't think about the fact that Ethan still thinks they're cousins. This is what I meant earlier by an incest scare. It's not incest, they're not actually related, but Ethan thinks they are, and he still kisses her, and it's just, oh god. But we're not at the end of the line yet. We still have a lot more to go through before the end of the movie. So Clay discovers the journal that Ethan's been keeping where he had all the ways that Clay has wronged him, and now, in red ink, he has all the ways he's gotten back at Clay. And they're mostly insignificant. Even the, like, kissed Madison one, he didn't really have her consent with that, so it's not so much something he got back at Clay for, but anyway. Clay takes it to a bit of an extreme. So Clay tells Ethan that he's sick, but that he's supposed to do an active shooter drill at school, and he hopes that Ethan will take his place for him because it's something very important. And Ethan, being a genuinely caring person despite some of the things we've seen, decides to do it for him because of course he would do that for his brother, no problem. And he leaves behind the tape of Madison cheating on Clay because he's trying to be a good brother, trying to help his brother out. However, things are not as they seem, because we jump forward and we realize that the active shooter drill was a lie, and now Ethan, with a paintball gun mind you, is now an active shooter in a public high school.
You guys are really into this.
And I love everyone freaking out, even though clearly, like, anyone who's been hit with a paintball is fine, like it's obviously paintballs. But here we go, Clay saw the video and realized that Ethan is actually a good brother and wanted to show Clay that he shouldn't be dating Madison. She's not a good person because she's cheating on him, and he actually cares about Clay, even if he did do things like throwing a watermelon on his car and shattering the windshield that's expensive and kissing his girlfriend in her sleep without her consent. Just the you. So Clay rescues his brother from the scenario to avoid getting arrested, which is honestly very touching. This moment made me feel a few things.
Stand up! Drop the weapon! Stand up! The hand's behind your head, interlace the fingers.
Seems to be the problem, officer.
So Clay is sent to California for getting in trouble, even though I don't know how he got out of being, like, arrested, like in jail. The movie ends on a happy note of Ethan figuring out that they're not actually related and he's not in an incest relationship.
So really, cousins can't be that bad.
Ethan?
Yeah.
We're not related.
What?
My mom is Asher's dad's sister. Your mom is Asher's mom's sister. I'm Asher's cousin.
So why did I show you this movie? Because I freaking love it, and I think it's so underrated, and no one's talked about it. I had never heard of it, and anytime I bring it up to people, they have never heard of it, and I'm like, how has no one seen this movie? And when I tried to do a little bit of research to see, like, has anyone ever talked about this movie, or am I just, like, hallucinating every time I watch it, and it only exists for me? And it turns out that it's because a lot of, like, self-righteous critics say that it's overdone, the acting's overdone, which it's not. Like, of course Ethan is over the top, but, like, a character like that has to be, but everyone else is just weird, but no weirder than any other blockbuster movie like Juno or Napoleon Dynamite, which, speaking of, they like to claim that it's a ripoff of Napoleon Dynamite, that Seth Packard watched Napoleon Dynamite and was like, hey, I'ma just make that. And that's not the case. Napoleon Dynamite is such a different movie from Hottie Boomba Lottie, and here's an opinion I have that you are allowed to just absolutely tear me to shreds for in the comments, because I'm just a problematic person. I get that now, so why hide it? Why hide it from you guys? You know I'm problematic. A lot of you unfollowed me for that. So here we go. I think Hottie Boomba Lottie is a better movie than Napoleon Dynamite. I said it, and I stand by it. That's why this movie never got what it deserved. Harsh critics with no sense of humor just 360 no-scope sniped it before it ever got a chance to ride its moped into glory. Napoleon Dynamite was honestly a little too slow-paced in my opinion. This movie, even when it takes breaks, is still not slow-paced. It's always like zooms in on Ethan's face, or just footage of things that tell you something about the character's personality. And it offers more mystery and suspense, because Napoleon Dynamite doesn't really have like much of a plot that it follows throughout the whole story. There is no story. It's just like, here's the character, Napoleon. He's weird, and here's him living his life, and just weird things happen to him. Everyone in the story is just weird, and it's just them existing, and just things happen along the way. Like, we're already halfway through Napoleon Dynamite before the vote for Pedro thing even occurs, and that's like what it's iconic for. That's not what the whole movie's about. The movie's about... But that's why I like Hottie Boomba Lottie, because there's a storyline that it follows. It sticks to this story, but it just throws the weird in alongside it. It doesn't make the whole movie based on just weird. And that's it. It's just weird. And Napoleon Dynamite has a completely different humor style. Everything's very dry. Things are only funny because he says it and is like,
gosh, it's so stupid.
Like, okay. So Napoleon Dynamite, it has a more quiet, like snarky, sarcastic, mean-spirited humor. And also Napoleon Dynamite was produced by MTV. It wasn't an indie movie, so it definitely had a leg up as far as exposure and being in theaters across the world other than just like film festivals like this one because it was an indie movie. And also people like to drag Seth because it's like, oh, you wrote, directed, and starred in it? Really? You're that full of yourself? Do you know just how many people have written, directed, and starred in their own movies and they were like blockbusters, like big deal movies? That's not an unheard of thing. That's actually pretty common, and especially common in very well-known, very well-done movies, because sometimes you're directing people, but if you have a vision in mind of what a character should be, and you're the only one that truly understands how that character should act and what they're feeling in the moment, you gotta get in there and get your hands dirty yourself. And also, it's an indie movie, and I know that obviously me sitting here making YouTube videos is absolutely nothing even close to the same scale as that. I understand the frustration of when you're trying to make something and you just have very limited resources. So he didn't have anybody to play Ethan in a way that he wanted to. He's like, freaking fine, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it live. Give me the hairspray, give me the popped collar, give me the moped, and just let me go. I'm not saying Napoleon Dynamite's a bad movie. I'm just saying comparing the two isn't super fair. I just wanted to point out that Hottie Boomba Lottie is not a copy, and I think it's ultimately better. Could it have been inspired by Napoleon Dynamite? Of course. And there's like a famous quote that says, good artist copy, great artist steal. Now, this is not permission to go and steal art and claim it as your own. YouTube is very clear about that, and they will chokehold you if you even think, if you even breathe near something copyrighted without it being fair use. Or even if it is fair use, just screw you, according to YouTube. But anyway, please don't demonetize me for saying that. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry like I mean it, because it really does suck, but I'm sorry in that I will grovel to not have my account deleted, thanks. There's nothing new under the sun. That's why we have music genres. There's no new things. You can take something and make it new in a way, but you still had to take it from its original source, if that makes any sense, and make it your own. And then it is sort of a new thing, but it did come from something that already existed. You may not be the first to do something, but you did it so well that everyone thinks of you when they see it. So even if the movie was inspired by Napoleon Dynamite, it didn't straight copy Napoleon Dynamite. It had completely different types of characters. It actually followed a storyline. It threw in parental dynamics and family dynamics that didn't exist in Napoleon Dynamite, other than like the uncle. Basically takes a completely different route than Napoleon Dynamite, so it's not a copy. It's not a copy, stop calling it a copy. At the end of the day, I just wanted to show you guys this movie because I love this movie and no one talks about it, and I was like, alright, I have this platform that I've already abused, so why not abuse it again by telling you guys about my favorite indie movie, because I think honestly this is it. I've said this before and I'll say it again, I love being taken off guard by a movie, and especially by comedy. If I can see what's coming and I can predict how it's going to end, I'm not going to enjoy it. But if it constantly keeps me on my toes, or even if like with this movie I knew it was going to end with like a happy ending of a love story, but how am I going to know that he's going to friggin' rip his underwear off in the car with his mom? Like, I'm not gonna see that coming. Thanks for joining me on the ride of Hottie Boomba Lottie. I hope that you still go watch the movie after watching this video, because I just barely grazed the surface of what this movie has to offer. You should definitely go watch it. So you can watch it online. I will leave a link down below to a free service, and it's not illegal. It is completely legal. Please don't come for me. It's a free service where you can watch it, or if you have like an Amazon Fire thing, you can watch it on there too. That's how I was watching it for this video. Also, just side note, no, I don't know what the movie title means. at all. Alright guys, 1 like equals 1 prayer for those G.I. Joe underpants that he ripped off in his mom's car. Make sure to hit subscribe and that notification bell or I will send you off to live with your cousins. Before I go, I do want to mention that I will be in Nepal next week as of the time I'm filming this. I should have a video kind of like queued up to post while I'm in the country, but once I get back, I will not post a video that week. I always come home from Nepal not just jet lagged, but completely just sick and out of my mind, and I should not be on camera that week. So expect this video, which is, you're watching it, congrats, and then the next video next week, and then there will be a gap. I don't know the dates of things. So while I'm already a sellout, might as well tell you guys that I do have a Patreon. I always link it down below in the description. I'm only telling you this now because I'm already problematic, so why not just take advantage of it? And 2, because I'm gonna be out of town and the video for next week will already be up on Patreon. They get my videos early before everyone else, so especially since I have to upload 2 videos at once, they already have them. They already had this one, and they'll have the next one a week early. So if you want to watch it, if you're gonna miss me while I'm gone, you can watch that. You can watch some of the bonus videos that are on there. Just give it a little look-see if you want, or just attack me in the comments for begging for money. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, whenever that is. Peace.
I put my foot in my mouth.